Because right now I feel like it's a four-man race. If I were to invite people to New York, these would be the four guys. He is averaging a first down. You can't sit up here and say enough great things about how Genty's playing this year. He's a cheat code. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great Thursday. Hope all of you having a great week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, we got to talk about a situation I find really interesting. And also, by the way, fun fact for you, did you know from this day onward, we have 55 straight days of football, whether that be NFL or college. 55 straight days, how about that? The past couple of days, I was missing some football regardless of the level, but we won't be having that problem anymore. We are entering what I like to label as the prime of college football season and just football season in general. It's going to be great. I'm excited, but man, oh man, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about one topic and one topic only because I think it's that important, and that is no other than the Heisman race. I've been thinking about it quite a bit. I think it'll make for a great video, so here we are. And also, listen to this. Throughout the history of our channel here on YouTube, we have never talked about the Heisman race this early on. And we for sure haven't made a dedicated video to the Heisman race this early in the season. And I have a good reason for it, because more times than not, I don't even pay attention to the Heisman race until week 9 or week 10, because so much can change and so much can happen. We've seen it before where they try to crown the Heisman winner in week 5 or 6, and sometimes that guy doesn't even make it to New York. One reason I've never cared about the Heisman race until as late as I do is because of the Geno Smith incident. If you know, you know. Geno Smith in the first 5 to 6 weeks for West Virginia, it wasn't even close. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. But after he started out on fire, he fizzled out, and I don't even think he made it to New York that year. Another good example, he didn't fizzle out quite as much. It's more so if Derrick Henry had an unreal year that season. Leonard Fournette at LSU. At the halfway point in the season, he was your Heisman Trophy winner. Then he ran into a buzzsaw that went by the name of Alabama, and yeah, after that game, it was over. So for those two reasons, it's why I normally don't even hype up, but it's why I don't talk about the Heisman race too much at all. But I find this Heisman race a little more interesting, at least at this point in time. Heading into the season, just to name off a couple of your favorites, it was guys like Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, Dillon Gabriel, and Carson Beck. And there's some other guys I missed down on, but now the Heisman race has done a complete 180. Carson Beck has zero shot to win the Heisman Trophy after that performance against Bama. You can mark it down, he won't win the Heisman Trophy. And then Quinn Ewers, he hasn't been playing bad. The problem with him is he hasn't been playing. You kind of got to play to win the Heisman Trophy. I can't remember the last time a Heisman Trophy winner played less than 11 football games. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, he probably ain't going to win it because he lost to Kentucky. And Dillon Gabriel from Oregon, it's not that he's looked bad, it's more so if Oregon really hasn't done anything. He'll have some opportunities in the future. At this point in time, it seems clear and evident this is a four-man race. Jalen Milroe played arguably one of the greatest football games you're ever going to see a quarterback play against Georgia. He's up there. I'll explain more on this in just a second. You also got Cam Ward from Miami. He's been balling out, carrying that Miami team. Travis Hunter from Colorado. We knew Travis Hunter was legit, but you can't win the Heisman Trophy if your team's not winning, and Colorado has been winning. And then you got the running back from Boise State. What about that? Genty. You could argue and say he's number 1. Those 4 guys are listed off in no specific order. Like I said, they got to be somewhere in your top 4. You really don't have an argument for Dillon Gabriel. Hasn't really proved himself. And same thing for Nico Iamaleava. And before we go any further, let me show you the new updated odds to win the Heisman Trophy. Dead last on the list, you got Miller Moss from USC. I like him. Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, Nico Iamaleava, Dillon Gabriel, and here's your top 4. Ashton Gentry, running back from Boise State. Travis Hunter, the wide receiver / cornerback from Colorado. Then you got Cameron Ward, whatever you want to call him, from Miami. And last but not least, you know who's at number 1 since we haven't said his name. Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama. This isn't rocket science. You know why Milroe's number 1. He had the best performance of the year, arguably, against one of the best teams in the nation in a national spotlight. I believe that game had 12 million viewers. 12 million. There will not be a game with more viewers than that in Alabama when they need a big-time play. Guess who made it? Jalen Milroe. He was the team, and to tell you the truth, he was the Alabama team last year. Against Georgia, people don't even talk about this. Not only did Jalen Milroe have a great day passing, but he led Bama in rushing with 117 yards. He was phenomenal, but here's my question. I'm being dead serious. How is Ryan Williams not on the list? Is this an age thing? By the way, did you know Ryan Williams is only 17 years old? I bet you didn't know that. They only say it every 10 seconds. But on a serious note, is it because he's so young, he's not getting the respect I feel like he not only deserves, but has earned? There's a legitimate case that he's not only the best freshman wide receiver in the nation, but he's the best overall wide receiver in the nation regardless of class. You can debate a brick wall on that one. There's no arguments. Ryan Williams is beyond special. And after putting up a $177 in a game in which he cooked the Georgia defense full of future NFL talented players, he's not on the Heisman list? I ain't saying he's got to be number 1 or even top 3 or top 5. How is he not on the list? How is Quinn Ewers, who's not even playing, ahead of Ryan Williams? You see what I'm saying? And how is Carson Beck ahead of Ryan Williams after that performance? I digress. I just don't know how you have a Heisman list without Ryan Williams being in the top 10. We're almost at the halfway point in the season. Let's cross out who doesn't have a chance. I think we can take Quinn Ewers off of this list just due to the fact hasn't been playing, and that's going to hurt his numbers. Numbers do matter. I also believe you can cross off Carson Beck after having 4 turnovers in a national televised game. A big part of winning the Heisman Trophy is having a Heisman moment, and when you hear the name Carson Beck, you're immediately going to think of, oh yeah, that's the guy who had 4 turnovers against Alabama in that primetime matchup. Carson Beck ain't got a shot. Miller Moss, I like him from USC, but I think we can cross him off too. I don't want to take off Jackson Dart just quite yet. I don't think he's going to win it, but he has other opportunities. And I know he played cupcakes in his first few games, but in that Ole Miss offense, he was putting up insane numbers, so that's going to help him out. I don't think you can just write his chances off after a 3-point loss to Kentucky. That now leaves us with Nico, Gabriel, Genty, Hunter, Ward, and Milroe. Nico Iamaleava is a very interesting subject because Tennessee's undefeated. Although he's not throwing for 400 yards per game, he's playing his role. He's doing his part. And if he just remains on cruise control and Tennessee wins out, he'll probably make it to New York. As much as I love the kid, I just don't think he's going to put up those big-time numbers. Tennessee's going to win a lot of games this year because of their defense. Let's pull up his numbers and stats since we're talking about all these players, give you even better perspective. Nico Iamaleava. Let's see where he's... Okay. 892 passing yards, nothing incredible. 7 touchdowns, 2 INTs, QBR 75.4. Nothing special. I ain't saying he's bad, don't get it twisted. I think he's really good, but we're talking about the Heisman, just remember that. Moving on up the list here, Dylan Gabriel. Yes, he's done good, but haven't really played anybody. And here we go. We finally got a running back. This is the only running back on the list. As we all know, a running back winning the Heisman Trophy is about as rare as anything nowadays. I think the last 2 running backs to win the Heisman Trophy were Alabama running backs, Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. Let's pull up Genty's stats, and I've seen him before, but I'm going to show them to you again. He is averaging a first down. 82 carries for 845 yards. I'm going to say that again. 82 carries for 845 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10.3 yards per carry. It ain't fair, man. It ain't fair. You can't sit up here and say enough great things about how Genty's playing this year. He's a cheat code. He's a human bowling ball, but he's also got a quick twitch ability to him that I really like. He's a hard guy to bring down, but he's also kind of fast. In one of the recent videos, I described him as a monster, and that's what he is. We'll come back to him in just a second. The Travis Hunter one, I can cross him off this list. He has no shot to win the Heisman Trophy, and I should have crossed him off earlier. I know what some of you are sitting there saying, Matt, what are you talking about, buddy? He has the 3rd best odds. No shot? Come on, man. Hey, I'm right there with you. I made a dedicated video to Travis Hunter and his Heisman situation. I believe it was last week. I feel bad for him. It's not fair because the Heisman Trophy was designed to go to the best player in the nation. It's not supposed to go to the best player on the best team, but that's how it works. And unfortunately for Travis Hunter, Colorado's not going to win enough games for him to win the Heisman Trophy. When Colorado loses another game or 2, he'll fall in these rankings. I'm not saying I like it. I don't believe it should be that way, but it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. He doesn't have a shot, and I'll tell you where I have him in my rankings in just a second. Going up here to number 2, Cam Ward. Let's pull up Cam Ward's stats this year. I assume they're pretty good. Okay, got it right here. 1,700 passing yards, and that's why I say Nico doesn't have that good of a chance. Nico only had, 892, 18 touchdowns with 4 INTs, QBR 92.7, second in the nation. Cam Ward is sitting pretty. If he keeps it up, he'll have a great shot at winning it. But also, he's in an interesting situation because Miami, they got to keep winning these games. If they had lost to Virginia Tech, he probably would have fell in these rankings or fell in this list. And last but not least, we got good old Jalen Milroe, and we saw what he's about. I think all the naysayers, they've shut their mouth the past few days. There was always this weird narrative going around that Jalen Milroe can't throw the football, but those same people, they've shut their mouth. Milroe on the season has right under 1,000 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. That interception wasn't his fault, by the way. It was a bobbled interception. It's QBR 87.6, 5th in the nation. But, and I have a big but, you also have to throw in there his running ability. He had 80 rushing yards his first game, 75 against Wisconsin, and most recently 117 against Georgia, and he has 8 rushing touchdowns. So on the year, he has 18 18 total touchdowns to only 1 INT, and I believe that's his only turnover. And you don't need me to sit up here and hype up Milroe. You saw him against Georgia. Enough said, his game does all the talking. What you're looking at right here, these are the current betting odds to win the Heisman. This isn't my list. However, I'm about to give you my list right now. Here's my top 4. Because right now I feel like it's a 4-man race. If I were to invite people to New York, these would be the 4 guys. At number 4, similar to the betters, I got Genty. He's been fantastic, and it's not a knock against him. It's just the 3 guys I have ahead of him, I think they've been a little bit better. At number 3 on my list, I got Cam Ward. He is Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected. He has carried this Miami team. However, he has had a couple of interceptions, and if he keeps that up, that might come back to bite Miami in the butt. He hasn't been completely flawless, and that argument comes into play in just a second. Number 2 on my list, I got good old Travis Hunter. I can't say enough good things about Travis Hunter, not even talking about position-wise, but overall players in the nation. He's one of the best. Since I have Hunter at 2, you know who I got at number 1, similar to the betting odds. I got Jalen Milroe. The reason I have Milroe at 1 is because he has played flawless this season. And it's not like he's just throwing 5 and 10-yard out routes and dinking a diamond his way down the field. No, he is launching that thing. He is so hard to beat because he can beat you through the air and he can beat you on the ground. Even when you have a quarterback spy like Georgia did, he can still win a one-on-one battle and just run around him, or he's strong enough where he can just run through him if he wants to. This guy's a monster. On the year, 18 touchdowns to only 1 interception, and the interception wasn't even his fault. Hit his tight end in the hands. I feel like at this point in time, as to when I'm speaking and making this video, Milroe has done the most. Travis Hunter's been great, but he hasn't been as big as a contributor as Milroe. For Cam Ward, yeah, he's been great, but he ain't done it against the Georgia. For Genty, I think he's been phenomenal as well, so it's not a slight against him. When you do what Milroe did against a NFL defense, there's no disputing it. That game alone holds so much weight. I mean, you don't even know. But like I said earlier, we've seen this before. This Heisman race, watch, it's not even close to being over, and really, it's just now starting. This is like shooting a good front 9 in golf. Yeah, the front 9 was good, appreciated, but you still got 9 more holes to go. And really, we're on like hole 6 or 7 in this analogy. A lot of football to be played, but as to where it stands right now, that's how I view things. 3 guys to not sleep on, though, is Dylan Gabriel, Nico Iamaleava, and Jackson Dart. For Quinn Ewers, he just has too much ground to make up. For Carson Beck, nobody's even going to argue he should even be on this list because you did it to yourself, man. I know some people may try to bring up Shedeur Sanders, but that's a similar argument to Travis Hunter. He has 0 shot at winning it because Colorado's not going to win enough games. That one really doesn't matter. I mean, you could argue and say that he should be on the list, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'd put him on there before Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart, I'll tell you that much. I find this really interesting. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But